How's it going, Martians? Welcome back to the report. And have I got a poignant topic for today? Well, unless you've been living under a rock the past 2 days, you've probably seen it plastered all over the mainstream media. The Pentagon has now confirmed the videos that were leaked last year. Maybe it was 2018, I don't know, time's a funny thing. But leaked a fair while ago, and there was no confirmation whether these videos were real, and it set the world of alien theorists on fire. And now we have confirmation that these videos are legitimate. They're real, the real deal. So, aliens, UFOs, and anybody who watches who's actually watched the video that I've got the little graphic here of on the screen, go watch those videos if you haven't seen them, and try to convince me that these are earthly crafts, that these are earthly aerial vessels. They're not. The maneuvers that these perform are far beyond our current capabilities, our current understanding of aeronautics. In many ways, the vessel on screen, this one is the most impressive because of the mid-air performance it puts on for the pilots that are filming this. So let's not spend too much time just talking about the craziness of these vessels. Instead, let's have a little conversation about aliens, about what this means really. If does this mean, for example, that aliens are among us, they're walking among us, and they've just been being kept secret from us for 60 plus 70 years, since the Roswell incident? Or have they been here even longer? Now, obviously, everything I'm going to be presenting, it's just speculation. It's just my personal views. And you'll probably have heard a lot of these before, because a lot of what I think about aliens does coincide with a lot of what has been presented on, say, like Ancient Aliens. I think there's merit to a fair bit of the positions postulated by those individuals, all the ancient alien theorists over there. But I think a lot of it's also total BS and speculation and just guessing, But that's, I'm gonna be doing the same exact thing. So, see if you enjoy my speculations here. So, first off, what do they want, right? I think that's going to be the biggest question on anybody's mind. Is okay, well, let's just assume that these are aliens. Why are they here? And to put it simply, why would humans go to another planet with intelligent life? Why, pretend that you're a human from the year 2400, and we have, speed of light vessels or wormhole vessels, so that we can traverse the spatial dimension in the blink of an eye, and in the perception of a second, we can be on the other side of the galaxy and looking at another alien world. Why would we go there in the first place? Well, it's not going to be for resources, because there are tons of uninhabited planets all around us that would have limited to no casualties of human life for us to just go and harvest resources from them. So it's not going to be for resources, because there's infinite resources just in our own little star system here, that it would take us hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years, even with technology that we can't even fathom, advanced technology we can't even fathom, to utilize all the resources just available around the sun, just in the sun's gravity well. So it's not for resources. So is it going to be because we want to communicate with a alien species who has not yet attained our level of technology, the ability to traverse to the other side of the galaxy to go visit them? No. They're not interested in our technology. They're not interested in, well, maybe, I'll dive into that question a little bit deeper. And it's not because they see us as slave labor, because likely they already have robots that can work around the clock and they don't have to worry about work. So what is it? We are a science experiment. We are a research experiment for them, if they've advanced similarly to us, then they probably have a pretty detailed record of their most recent technological leap that got them to the point of where they can explore the universe. They probably have something similar to the internet where they can communicate and keep stored knowledge for generations. So what they want to do is observe us to see if we are progressing along the same frame as them, along the same trajectory as them, and to also know where we started from, to observe where it was that we started our journey from, so that they can create more powerful mathematical or predictive models to determining what is required for intelligent life to emerge, and to better understand not only where life is likely to emerge, but where they as a species may actually be going. Where they might already be far more advanced than us, but by gaining information, data points on how we've progressed, and then comparing those to how they progressed, they can come up with a more complete model about how they can project their own progression beyond where they already are. So that's what I likely think that aliens are doing by observing us. And this also brings into question some things like with Ancient Aliens. Like I said, I like a lot of things that are said on Ancient Aliens. I think that some of it kind of jives. Other things like, were aliens once the ancient rulers of man, and they were just teaching us all the basics of advancement and all this. I don't actually think so. Because if you've ever performed a scientific experiment, the last thing you want to do is interfere with your experiment and create a potential the potential for ruining your experiment, of observing whether or not your thesis that you created before the experiment began holds true. And if you start poking and prodding at your experiment, which is intelligent life here on Earth for these aliens, then you run the risk of breaking your whole experiment, right? So it is unlikely to me that these aliens have ever had one-on-one interaction with humans in a meaningful way. Now, does this mean that they've never abducted humans? They've never, teleported one of us up to their spaceship and, probed us? Well, that's not an event that would be impactful species-wide, And so it's highly likely that there have been a few abductions. There have probably been hundreds, and many of these people who claim to be abducted, not many, but there may be people among those who claim to have been abducted that actually were. And they're just lopped in with the other, attention-seeking crazy people who just, crazy people who just want attention, because it's such a unbelievable thing to us that there could be life out there that is far more advanced than us. I watched a video. I can't think of the name of the channel, but there's this channel that I've started watching, Omeleto or something like that. And they create all these like little short movie sequences almost, and one of them was this alien visits Earth, and it's just this massive Titan creature. It's like taller than skyscrapers, and it lands on Earth, and for weeks and months everybody's terrified. They think that it's the end of the world, that this thing's going to obliterate them because it's so enormous, and the government launches all these powerful weapons at it, and it doesn't phase it at all. And But what's stranger is when this creature is attacked by humans, it doesn't retaliate. It just straight up ignores the attacks against it. And it just goes around exploring the planet. And it settles down, I think it was in Los Angeles or some major city on the West Coast. And it just settles there, and it goes through a daily routine every day for months. And everybody's speculating, what is it doing here? But gradually over time, everybody just becomes complacent. It's just part of life now, this giant alien creature. And a lot of people feel invalidated by its existence. The fact that it's here and it does nothing, but it's so grand. It's so much more than any one human that it invalidates a lot of people's sense of significance. And so in many ways, even though it does nothing itself, its mere existence is to the detriment of a large population of humanity. And it was a very interesting piece. If I could remember the title of it, or I think it's Omelette, is Omelette or Omelette, something like that is the name of the YouTube channel. But if you search giant alien lands on Earth, you should be able to find the video pretty easily. It's a fantastic piece, really great for getting you thinking about, the more realistic outcome of aliens and what it really seems to be with these aliens that we now know are flying around our planet. So, we've addressed what they possibly are after, which is likely just research. But what about the possible interactions beyond just, abducting one or two of us and experimenting on us? Could they have otherwise had? Now, there was somewhere I heard, it might have been Ancient Aliens as well, that somebody proposed that maybe they edited the human genome, because we are, in so many ways, we are so different from our closest primate ancestors that it's a little jarring. And we're different in so many meaningful ways, so many ways that are really deeply intrinsically tied to how we've advanced to the point we are. For example, the ability for a human to throw something with any degree of accuracy, that is perhaps one of the greatest feats, the greatest evolutionary adaptations made by the human species, that most of us, we tend to think about our intelligence, but the ability to throw an object with a degree of accuracy that we can, that's what really set us apart in our early days. And then when you tag on the discovery of fire and the ability to cook, and our brain's ability to observe the world and experiment and have this thirst, I guess you could say, for exploration, not only of the world around us, but of our environment and how we can interact with it in novel ways. Those two key aspects of human nature, we can say that they were just a gene mutation or two different than the chimps, but the reality is, we're 200 million years into our divergence from chimps, and well, hey, they still haven't caught up. They haven't had that mutation and became like us or more like us. Chimps are a lot of people. There's a lot of scientists, biologists that are saying that chimps are entering into the Stone Age, but they're entering into it in a different way from us, right? Or at least from how we project ourselves to have entered into it. And they, in many ways, are there's a case to be made that they haven't entered into it of their own free will, but instead due to observing how humans behave. And it's mirror neurons, that they are mirroring our behavior. And that's some mirror neurons exist within all social species. That's one of the things that makes us social species is our ability to parrot or mirror the behavior of someone else or something else that we observe performing something. And so we try it for ourselves. And then we come to understand it through attempting that act or behavior for ourselves. So, but that's a little bit off topic. As far as what I'm getting at with this, these evolutionary features that have really made humans who they are, there is a potential chance that perhaps millions of years ago, the aliens did edit our genes so that they could spur a species to the point of having the intelligence to interact with the environment, in a way that they could then, base their predictive model on, okay, how long is it going to take them from gaining this level of intelligence to actually terraforming their planet to match their own, image of, what they want the world to look like, or how the world can best serve their needs. And so that might be like, you could say that that's like the start of their experiment, is they introduce the intelligence gene, we'll say, into chimps, and those chimps become humans, and they watch us from there on. And they were just observers from that point on. And I think that's it seems a little bit far out, to be honest. Like, even though I can understand that it won't be hard for an advanced species to do that, I feel as though human life, human intelligence probably did emerge spontaneously, and aliens just found us because they have the ability to observe millions of planets at one time with the technology they likely have. And if not, if you look at these alien vessels and how they move, these unidentified aerial phenomena and how they move, they are defying physics as we know it. But if you take into account quantum physics and the illusion that is time, then you understand that these vessels, all they would have had to do is today visit us to realize that there's intelligent life on this planet, and then instead of setting their ship to travel 5 million miles away, or however many light years away to get to Earth, they can set their spaceship to move 1,000 years into the past, 10,000 years into the past, 1,000,000 years into the past, and then they can observe us at that point in time. So now, obviously, as any good time traveler knows, you don't want to manipulate the timeline any more than you absolutely must in order to engage with it, so that you can follow the chain of evolution from as unmanipulated of a manner as possible, right? So I think that perhaps the reason why we are now so aware of their presence is twofold. First, we're now at a point where we are sufficiently advanced enough to detect them. That's potential one. Potential two, we are now sufficiently advanced enough that the experiment's done. That we are advanced enough that they now understand, they've developed their models that they need to based upon us, and now they're exposing themselves that they exist is more of a warning to our species that, hey, you're not alone. Not only are you not alone, but you're not the big dog in the universe. You're not numero uno. And we're watching. We're here. that is a far greater threat than blowing up a city. Is just showing that you, as this entity with this technology that makes our minds go screwy because we can't even comprehend what we're witnessing, that you not only exist somewhere out in the universe, but you're here watching us and what we do. And so in some ways, it's a strategic threat to say, make the right choices. Because just as easily as we can make you question your place in the universe, we can remove your place from the universe. Because if they have the ability to travel so far across time and perform feats within our atmosphere that defy physics as we know it, then it is highly probable, if not an absolute, that they can travel through timelines. They can manipulate their temporal position just as easily as we can manipulate our spatial position. Because anybody who knows even the basics about physics, from an Einsteinian general relativity perspective, knows that time and space are one and the same. That our motion forward through time is simply an illusion. And that's why if you go into space and you orbit the planet for 10 years, you'll come back down to Earth, and because you are moving so much faster around the planet than the people sitting on the surface of the planet, you will actually be younger than the people on Earth because of the way in which your biological body was essentially experiencing time at a slower dilation than those people here on Earth, because you were exposed to a weaker gravity field. The speed you're moving around didn't really matter as much as the distance from the gravity well that is the core of the Earth. Right? So the point being is time is relative, as is space. And if a species can cross hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands, however many light years away to reach us from wherever they're from, they can just as easily travel hundreds of millions of years into our past. And it's that easy for them to end the first human. And then it doesn't matter how many nukes we have, because they killed the first human and therefore we never existed. That's how quickly the experiment can end and we can go away. And then Earth never has humans destroying all the rainforests and oceans and all of the stuff, and a different species fills the niche however many hundreds, if not millions of years after us. If ever. Maybe an asteroid hits us 5 years from now anyways, and it would have wiped out human life, and therefore, because no humans existed in the timeline where they killed the first humans, then whatever life was progressing to our point is already gone because the asteroid hit and wiped them out, pushed them back, if not eliminated them, right? Like I said at the beginning, tons of speculation in this video, but point being, I don't think that we need to really worry about them. I think that, at the end of the day, if we are a failed experiment that they do not want, they don't wish to engage with on a equal footing, so to speak, whenever they view us as even subordinates or even potential future equals, then we will be eradicated so quickly that none of us will even know it. It'll be in the snap of a finger. Nobody's going to feel their death. They're just going to be gone. If not, suddenly we just cease to exist because the timeline's been changed. Now, obviously, that's assuming a lot about timelines because, for all we know, there is branching timelines, many worlds hypothesis. So eliminating the first human might not even be a potential. We don't know, and that's the crazy thing. that is the crazy thing about human knowledge, is that we know a lot about how the universe works and how quantum mechanics works, but for every one thing we know, there's 100, if not 1,000 questions that one piece of knowledge brings up that we don't have a answer to, that we can only speculate on, right? And so and for all we know, these aliens that are so much more advanced than us, they might have 10,000 of those questions answered. But from those 10,000 questions, 100 million more have sprung. That's the beauty of how complex and fascinating our universe is. And so even if we find that these highly advanced, creatures do seem to make our place seem less significant than we as humans have perceived it to be for all of recorded human history, something to keep in mind is that even as advanced as these aliens appear to be, they definitely haven't reached the end game. For all we know, there's no such thing as an end game to knowledge, to technology. It just keeps going in, infinitely into the future. And the things that we visualize as like, oh, that's the peak of technological prosperity, that might just be the beginning. That could really just be the very beginning of the journey. And once we hit that point, that's when we just get to focus entirely on where do we go from here? How do we advance from here? We've food. Everybody's got food because computers, 3D printers are printing out strawberries and oranges and steaks, and no cows are dying for the steak, and soil's not being degraded to grow your corn, and you're just getting it out of a 3D printer. And what more could humans ever need? Well, we don't know what we will need or have the desire for because we're not in that world yet. But when we get to that world, I can say just from knowing what is the human spirit, what is the spirit of our essence, our desire for this insatiable appetite we have as humans to progress, to create new things, to make an impact on the world, to bring about change, hopefully for the good. I think most people want some good change for the world. We will continue to advance. We will continue to find new ways to make ourselves better. And so I think that these aliens are probably in the same position as going back to the beginning. Why are they here? To observe us so that they can maybe get some hint as to where, some blind spot of their own technological advancement, some way in which they can reverse engineer something crazy creative that we've done, as primitive as it is, to realize that whoa, hold on. If you take what these chimps are doing right now and you apply our level of understanding to it, whoa, look at all the possibilities that this opens up. All these things that we never even conceived of because we progressed. We didn't discover nuclear fusion. We discovered some other crazy energy conversion method that's totally unrelated. We discovered how black matter or dark matter works, and so we didn't even know about this nuclear fusion thing. Whoa, crazy! Now look at all we can do with this. These guys are using it for power, but this is the real potential of nuclear power. Wow! And we don't know. We cannot even perceive. We can't even pretend to perceive how these intelligent creatures would even, could benefit from our seemingly primitive technology compared to theirs, right? Anyway, I thought this is really cool. I thought this is crazy. Crazy times we're living in. That we're now, they're now, the government's now being transparent about alien existence. The irony is that a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's psyops. It's part of Project Bluebeam, or Bluebeam, I think it was." And sure, I don't doubt that you could make a case that the governments will try to utilize the exposure of alien existence to try and unify the world. That seems plausible to me. The threat of aliens could unify humanity, but at the same time, I think that there's just as much case that it's just like the omeletto, or I'm just gonna call it omelet because I'm not actually sure of the name. It's not spelled like omelet, I don't think. But the omelet with the giant alien that did nothing. It just came and observed and sat around Los Angeles, went and looked at the ocean every morning. It could just be that they just are here to observe. They're not going to invade. They're not going to destroy any cities. They're not going to start mass abductions of people. They're just watching. And even if it becomes common knowledge that they are among us, they still might not engage with us. They might just continue to observe us, pretend that we don't even know they exist, and they're just going to keep watching, and eventually we'll pretend they don't exist if they don't engage with us. We'll just go about our lives, oh yeah, the aliens, they're here, whatever. I think that's a more likely outcome too, honestly, with how weird our universe is, that these aliens are here, they're engaging, in observing us, but they're not engaging in interacting with us. And I doubt that they will, unless we become so sufficiently advanced that we can, properly enforce a no-fly zone for alien vessels, unless they check into alien immigration offices, and be like, hey, what are you doing here on our planet? Okay, what are your goals? What's your objective here, right? Until that happens, there's no reason for them to interact with us, because it's like why would you go and talk to ants? Because that's realistically, when you look at even just these spacecrafts that are now being disclosed as actual UFOs, the difference in their technology between our technology and these vessels, what they possess, is the difference between an anthill and the whole of human civilization. We are insignificant to them. We are a fun research project, and just as we can learn so much from observing ants, they can probably learn just as much by observing us, but there's no reason for them to go talk to the ants. Just as there's no reason, there's no reason for them to come talk to us, just as there's no reason for us to go talk to the ants. So that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm being a little bit cynical. Maybe once the governments of the world make it public that yes, there are definitely aliens out there. We know they exist. We even know about a few species of them. Different species based upon these vessels that we've been seeing. They're totally different from one another. So definitely different groups. Then they'll be like, okay, well, the jig's up, guys. The whole planet knows we're here. I guess we should go talk to them and let them know what's really up with the universe. We'll have some fun now. We'll go blow their minds, because it's always fun to be that person that unveils some grand truth and you just watch everybody's minds explode as they come to realize, whoa, how wrong were we? Unfortunately, humans are not very good at accepting when they're wrong. So maybe they won't. Maybe they understand us better than we think they understand us, and from that very notion alone, that very understanding of the human persona alone, they'll be like, nah. We've seen what these guys did to a few prophets once upon a time. That anybody remember that Jesus guy a few thousand years ago? Oh man, the way they treated that dude for revealing that they're all basically equals, one and the same. Whew. Yeah, I don't know. They might try launching some nukes at us, and it'll get dicey real quick. This planet's gonna go to hell if we try and tell them the truth. Yeah. But anyways, I'm happy this kind of news came out, because it's a fun little tangent to be able to go on. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I didn't really have any one thing I really wanted to disclose. I just want to share my thoughts on it because I think it's really interesting to see. I know that everybody's going to have their own opinions on what this means. I think I at least touched on most people's in a little bit here and there. But at the end of the day, no one knows. None of us know. I don't even think those in positions of power in human society, unless they're aliens themselves, I don't think even people in positions of power really know what the true intentions of these aliens are, because even if the aliens have communicated with them, there's the potential that they're just telling humans what they want to hear because they're so sufficiently advanced that they can, that they understand us again better than we understand ourselves, and they can just manipulate us and make us believe what they want us to believe, while they do whatever they really want to do. Be sure to share your thoughts, comments, concerns in the comment section below. If you made it to this point in the video, please, guys, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe. Obviously, this is not at all related to really anything I've done aside from the Area 51 raid. So maybe those of you who went to Area 51, you're gonna be like, "Whoa, this guy's talking about aliens again! So cool! Wow, what up, guy?" Whatever. But that's all I got to say right now for the aliens. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next one, as always, on Mars.